Russia is fighting the sanctions war with fruit and vegetables. Counter-sanctions have banned the import of all food from the United States and fresh fruit from Europe, where Russia was by far the biggest importer. At this agricultural exhibition in Moscow, they're now seeking other overseas markets to fill the gap. This Belgian fruit exporter now finds himself frozen out of the lucrative Russian market.
And we blame a little bit our own European politicians, which intervene in Russian politics where they shouldn't do that, to our personal opinion at least.
So what other counter-sanctions could Russia call on? It could close Russian airspace to Western airlines. That could bankrupt some of the smaller carriers, but Russia would lose out on overfly fees of $300 million a year. It could cut off gas supplies to Europe. The EU gets a third of its gas from Russia, but shutting it down would be costly. Gazprom sold gas worth $70 billion to Europe last year. They could ban car imports from the West. Russia is Europe's biggest car market after Germany, but car manufacturers could supply cars made in other countries unaffected by sanctions. New Moscow is the financial hub of Russia. This is where the money men confront the challenges of sanctions day by day, and the future's not looking good.
I believe that in the medium and long term, the ruble will fall. The Russian currency doesn't look strong, the economy is not developing with the rates that the government and business wants.
And all the indicators are predicting a rough ride ahead for the Russian economy. The country's annual inflation rate is now running at 7.5%, and the value of the ruble against the dollar has dropped 14% since January. And then there's the dip in the oil prices, and oil makes up more than half of Russia's export revenues. The advice from the finance ministry: don't panic. And certainly no signs of high anxiety among the citizens of Moscow.
No, I don't feel any panic. I don't have dollars, so I won't lose much. Yes, I like if the food prices don't increase, but I think it's very hard to surprise us.
But for ordinary people around the country, the effects of a falling currency are beginning to hit home. These Russian tourists stranded in Turkey. The collapse of 3 of the country's biggest tour operators due to the downturn of the ruble left more than 130,000 holidaymakers affected. Russians are now being urged to take their New Year vacation at home. Peter Sharp, Al Jazeera in Moscow.